Thank you so much for joining. Thank you all for joining today. That's really beautiful. So let's step into this right away. So I'm going to take you somewhere, telling you a little anecdote, and you already got a bit of a taste of it. This is like Bach playing, at least the piece of Bach was played here. Johann Sebastian Bach, and his whole family was active in a certain area of Germany. Now, it doesn't really matter where they were, but in this case it does matter where that happened. So on this beautiful Ascension Day, Thursday, on this beautiful Ascension Day, I happened to have a hint to go to Erfurt. It is like the former DDR, like the Eastern Germany part of Germany. And except for the fact that the surroundings there, the nature is absolutely stunning and beautiful, there's also something that happened. I drove into that town, Erfurt, and I wondered, I forgot who was here. And so I waited for an answer and what on earth I was doing there, because, hey, so suddenly something happens and I walk feeling pulled to a certain place, and in this case it was a church, and I entered into that church, but right away I could see something very familiar is happening here. I have a recognition with the place, whatever that is, and the recognition was saying coming together of so many things, you could say, that I was completely touched by it. So except for the fact that a lot of Bach's family was in this church playing the organ, that's one thing. Pachelbel was playing the organ there. It was a very familiar place for the Bach family, the Pachelbel family. And at the same time something else is going on there. It was literally the church of Meister Eckhart. So it was actually the church of Meister Eckhart. Now, who's Meister Eckhart? Well, it's a 12th century mystic. So this church being very old and all this, it's like suddenly I find myself on this Ascension Day with the Bach family, Pachelbel and Meister Eckhart, in a total holy instant, you could say. And so that was talking about not having a program, not having a plan, but ending up being in the place and being in fact in a recognition of a relationship that goes far beyond time and space. Anything can be, is possible, in fact. Like, you can meet anyone at any time. So happened this then on this Ascension Day. Now, I can of course not recall that experience, absolutely not. So this moment is totally new and completely open. I don't want to put a stamp on it or confirm it in any kind of form and in any kind of way. But some inspiration came to me. So one of them is to put in the background the stained glass window from that church, literally, Meister Eckhart's church, and also joining you, inviting you, in fact, to join in a contemplation meditation with Meister Eckhart's words. That I've used them before because I love it, just because it is so his language in which he speaks, but also so recognizable in the whole idea of rebirth, and that I love to share it with you. So this is what we're going to do first now, and that is just starting contemplative meditation with Meister Eckhart's words. I pre-made this, and I'm going to play that. So it's, We have this sharing. There's Michel will say the same words too in French. There's quiet, and there's a repetition in English again. Pure light, contemplation, with words from Meister Eckhart. If you are then raised up with Christ, seek the things above, savor the things above. You will distaste the things that are on the earth. My soul is undivided, yet it is entire in each member. Where my eye sees, my ear does not hear. Where my ear hears, my eye does not see. What I see and hear physically comes into me by spirit. My eye perceives color through light, but it is not present to the soul by reason or defect. All that the outward senses perceive, if the spirit is to take it in, must come from above, from the angel, who imprints it with the upper part of the soul. Christ says, I am the door. The first outburst and the first effusion, God runs out into his fusion into his Son, who flows back into the Father, where Christ is sitting on the right hand of his Father. Where is Christ sitting? He is sitting nowhere. Whoever seeks him anywhere will not find him. His least part is everywhere, his highest nowhere. The masters say sitting denotes rest and implies timelessness. What turns and changes has no rest. A master says it is impossible that in the first eruption, when God bursts forth, any corporeal thing should receive it. It must be either light or pure spirit. Heaven is above time and the cause of time. Our souls are far above, hidden in God. And so I say not only above time, but hidden in God. Is that the meaning of heaven? Everything corporal is a product, an accident, and a descent. King David says, 1,000 years are in God's sight as a day that is past. For all the future and the past are there in one now, that we may attain this now. So help us God. Amen.
La lumière pure. Si ensuite vous êtes ressuscité avec Christ, cherche les choses d'en haut. Savourez les choses d'en haut. Tu détesteras les choses qui sont sur la terre. Mon âme est indivisible. Et pourtant, elle est entière dans chaque membre. Là où mon œil voit, mon oreille n'entend pas. Là où mon oreille entend, mon œil ne voit pas. Ce que je vois et entends physiquement vient en moi par l'esprit. Mon œil perçoit la couleur par la lumière, mais elle n'est pas présente à l'âme par défaut. Tout ce que les sens extérieurs perçoivent, pour que l'esprit puisse l'assimiler, doit venir d'en haut, de l'ange, qui l'imprime dans la partie supérieure de l'âme. Le Christ dit « Je suis une porte ». Le premier éclat est la première effusion dans laquelle Dieu se manifeste et sa fusion en son Fils qui retourne dans le Père. Où le Christ est assis à la droite de mon Père, où est assis le Christ? il n'est assis nulle part. Celui qui le cherche quelque part ne le trouvera pas. Sa moindre partie est partout, sa plus haute nulle part. Les maîtres disent qu'être assis dénote le repos et implique l'intemporalité. Ce qui tourne et change n'a pas de repos. Un maître dit qu'il est impossible qu'à la première éruption, quand Dieu éclate, quelque chose corporel le reçoive. Il faut que ce soit la lumière, soit le pur esprit. Le ciel est au-dessus du temps et de la cause du temps. Nos âmes sont bien au-delà, cachées en Dieu. Et donc, je dis non seulement au-delà du temps, mais cachées en Dieu. Est-ce le sens du paradis? Tout ce qui est corporel est un produit, un accident, une descente. Le roi David dit « 1000 ans sont aux yeux de Dieu comme un jour passé. » Car tout le futur et le passé sont là, dans un seul présent, afin que nous puissions y parvenir maintenant. Alors, aide-nous Dieu. Amen.
All right, we continue. Thank you so much for joining in the contemplation. So it's easy. Yeah, it's interesting to see what so Meister Eckhart shares. See, the whole expression of him is not necessarily directly understandable, but that doesn't take away that you can experience what he shares and come into something, of a discovery in your contemplation. So this is a bit what comes to me with an idea of substitution, because that's where we still are, say, going forth into. And the idea of substitution would be that you, in fact, exchange a perfect moment for something that you think it needs. And so what does this have? What does this contemplation have to do with it? It is more like this, it's like the continual invitation to allow this moment to be whole, with all the help in the universe, you could say, because there's still a possibility of distraction. There's a possibility of having an idea about something, and not that that is wrong or anything, but it is not necessary in order for this moment to be complete. Now, I touched that this afternoon too, at least my afternoon, in the say, a new horizon. So it all comes back, falling into one another as a perfect, say, perfect mosaic, you could say, because the pieces that I'm sharing with you are all related to the same idea. Like anything that comes from wholeness is a complete whole deal of everything, part of everything. Like it's a complete part of all aspects that you might see as color or as shape or as idea or as yeah. So what I'm actually trying to say here is this, is that with your openness, with your open mind, with your open-mindedness, with your, say, being in a state of giving everything away, not holding on to any idea, but being aware that you have a possibility to say, let go of it, offers you the opportunity to experience this moment as whole. And what makes that different? What makes it different is this, is that you, in fact, say, wait long enough to feel literally that is what is going on. And this we see as a practice of dying daily. It's like letting go of this idea that something needs to respond to something. Instead of that, being aware of the fact that this moment is complete, that it doesn't need anything. It doesn't need an action. It doesn't need a reaction. No, it is perfect in itself. Now, I love that, and I love the practice of that too. It's like you have no idea where you step into. I'm just using the example of going to this town. Like I had no idea why I would go there. And whoever experienced it, like I went into that place, a certain place that was given me to go. I had no idea, I didn't know anything about the history, but that in itself, like I walked into a place where I could experience that actually everything is going on right now, and that it's a perfect moment, that all are present in that I can relate to anyone literally in that. And the recognition of the perfection of that moment makes it even more mind-blowing. Because it is literally like, now I'm receiving that. And by the gratitude of receiving that, I receive more of that. And more of that. And more of that. Like it's abundance that we're talking about here. So it's like a real rebirth moment takes place when you allow this moment to be whole and perfect. And being aware that anything that you can come up with to make it even better or more complete would just take it away, would just say, lose its, savor, you could say. It would just not be that way. So in other words, you go off into some kind of idea that it wasn't perfect. So that would be your final conclusion of going to a place, not letting it be whole and moving out of it with, well, it was okay, but I saw this and this and this, and I don't know about that and that and that. So you bring in your doubt, literally. You bring in your doubt, you bring in your substitution, like your substitution for a perfect moment. Now this is a human habit. It's an old habit. So in our awakening, in our rebirth sessions, we have every opportunity to practice, in fact, the perfect moment, the holy instant, if you want. But the perfect moment describes it all. It's like it's present here and now. It doesn't need anything. And you can completely experience this because it is made for it. And there are no exceptions to it, and there's no, any of those things that you can come up with will not add anything to it. So now it's up to you. Do you want to experience that or not? That's in fact the whole question of this contemplation that we did. Like, do you want this moment to be experienced, to be perfect? With, of course, all the help in the universe. Because of that, because of the necessity to ask for help in it. So I love to experience that, to be aware of it, and take it with me. Like it is an answer to every situation that you don't know how to deal with. Why not allowing it to be perfect would be the question. I don't know how to do that. Great. Well, I'm allowing it. I'm inviting all the help in the universe for me to see it this way. So it doesn't depend on form, it doesn't depend on color or movement or motive or any kind of human, in fact, human, comparison, analysis, competition. Like, you don't need to have a lot of money to experience this. You don't have to have a boat to experience this. You don't have to have anything to experience this. It is freely given. It's freely received. There's no waiting for a better time. There's no future in which this will work. No, it works now. Perfect. Like absolutely perfectly orchestrated. It works right now. It doesn't need anything, not even a future. And it doesn't have to be related to the past, because the past is not going to add anything to it either. So it's like, that is not a reason. Like, I haven't done this long enough would not be a reason. It's like, no, it's always right here, right now. Why not let it occur? Why not let this moment be perfect? Well, this is really what I wanted to bring in, and because it's so incredibly practical and so much to the point, in fact, of your possibility for a rebirth experience. You really get to the core of it now. So this is my invitation, and you can take it with you and use it all the time. And it's my invitation for this meeting to let that happen. And I don't know how to do that either.